Chela befere man for beso makalela amundi meso makalela kumbala beso makalela oh
Analysts is a traditional instrumentalist and a projector of the Bafu culture in particular, and the grassland culture in general.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're all welcome. Thank you for showing up today. Today is a very special Saturday because today we are having some very important special guests who are our elders. You know, our elders are so special to us that they know what we are fighting for. There are some of us who were not born by 1961 when we had our independence. So I brought in these elders who were there, who saw it, you know, with everything that happened in 1961 when we had our independence. So today we are welcoming our special guest, Professor Aim, who is a chief of staff of the IG. Who also Uncle B, who is also a very known person. Uncle B, you're welcome. And also we have Pandi, who is the oracle, who knows also very much about the history of Southern Cameroon. Pandi, you're welcome. I'll give the floor to Professor Ayim to introduce himself to the audience. Professor Ayim.
Hello, greetings, fellow Amazonians. Greetings to everybody. This is Professor Ayim, your servant. I'm a servant of this revolution, this struggle, and have been in it for 30 years and served in every single government that has been related to this liberation struggle. Currently, I'm serving as the Chief of Staff of the interim government, and previously I was Department Chair for Foreign Affairs. So I extend serious greetings to our restoration forces, to whom I give respect. And I would, I don't know if you're going to conduct it earlier, but I would like us to observe a minute of silence to our fallen heroes, our refugees, our prisoners of conscience, internally displaced and bereaved families, and the restoration forces that have lost their lives, our heroes. Please, it's befitting to give them a minute of silence, please. Thank you. Let's do that, then I continue. Minute of silence starts now. To God be glory. Amen. And let me also, while introducing myself, extend my sincere appreciation and thank you to Ground Zero, the people in Mezam, Bamenda in specific, for executing a perfect lockdown the past week. This is the winning formula for our struggle. And I want to thank everybody, and that this is the way we need to keep up going forward. I'm your servant, and we'll do everything, sacrificing everything for this cause, for our children, our grandchildren. And thank you that we work together. So the teamwork is what makes things work for us. This is Professor Ayim, your servant. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Ayim. I appreciate it. Uncle B, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
I believe all they don't really know we know. You know that it's a bit talking for street language. I don't know whether Professor Ayim if he go you never go to my school for pidgin, but I want to enroll you into my school so that he knows more. I am Uncle B, and as the revolution knows me, but by reality, I'm a Tiabe Bruno. I'm the Restoration Council member, and I sorry for tell my host, maybe from 61, I'll not be able to say much. But if you tell me something about in the 90s, I will tell you 100% everything that happened. That said, we are here. Most often when I talk here at the top of this kind of language that they talk so not just because we believe we're targeted audience, even though it is mixed, but the audience want to explain this history for the background to our struggle. Now we are people way the day for Ground Zero. Or most of what they ask we will not be known. And I'm glad as you talk saying na statement or elderly men, we a little bit they know a little bit of more, a little bit of before we are used today, they nobody know but they will get an idea we will be here today. For back and they know say this is what we are and this is what we were. And as I said, Professor, you don't really talk, bravo to our voice on Ground Zero. May we proud for this revolution. Thanks to our government, the interim government, for staying steadfast to our commitments. And welcome to our audience. We'll always be here. I will appreciate your presence to listen to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uncle B. You're a very famous person. Everybody knows you. So, so ladies and gentlemen, today we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about the annexation and the colonization. We're going to talk about the plebiscite and the referendum. We're also going to be talking about the different resolutions that we had for our independence. Then we're going to touch on those various challenges that we face for our decolonization. And those are the topics that we're going to be talking today. A lot about what happened when they talk about the root causes of this, our struggle. A lot of people, a lot of the young ones think that we started this struggle. But going back to history, we're going to learn a lot from our elders in the house who are right here in the studio, live in ABC TV. We're going to learn that this struggle was started by them, not us. So some people think that this struggle started in 2016, but our elders here are to tell us the history of Southern Cameroon struggle. So I'm very glad to welcome Professor Aim and Uncle B, and also Pandi, who is going to join us. And so thank you, audience, for joining us. So I want to start with our Professor Aim. Professor Aim, can you enlighten the Southern Cameroonians about the root cause of this issue?
Yes, definitely. Uncle B, make a talk for, may I enter your school for Pidgin now?
That's very good.
You know, I like for learn. So, Mungo, I think we'll find for talk for the Pidgin so that maybe people, maybe for all nooks and crannies, maybe a year, fine. I understand. And before I go on, make I really express, we give credit where credit it be due for this course. The very first person where it be start this course before all people they begin join na His Royal Highness von Gojidinka in 1985. Na he be sound the first alarm. Na he start writing the social order and the new social order and all those things, and he come up with the name Ambazona, where people they argue, dispute so they drag a leg a lot until finally we all adopt them. So I will get forgive credit. I get forgive credit where credit be due, and for recognize the contribution by our learned Fon of Widdicombe and the barrister. So to him be that credit. Now, when you talk about the root causes for the withdrawal struggle, they will go back for the United Nations. It work. Okay. First time being a German Cameroon. German Cameroon, it will be a part of the Gabon be there, part of Central Africa be there, part of Chad be there, part of, Congo be there for this German Cameroon. So now this French, the French and the British, they be team up, they be fight against the German. So they defeat the Germans. So now they divide with territory. So this side, now Britain, it go the controller, and this side, now French people, France, go the controller. So that partition will be done in 1946. Okay. So now we see say that British Cameroon, a boundary will be done from Lake Chad. Now that strip from Lake Chad down to the Atlantic Ocean. So that one is supposed to be now one entity, one country. And we begin with international boundary with the other side when France, French Cameroon. So what will happen now, say, Britain, for your own convenience, it divide the British Cameroon for British Northern Cameroon and British Southern Cameroon for your own convenience. No treaty, no international treaty day where the show say British Northern Cameroon it be different from British Southern Cameroon. You know, me I don't look for that Hammersmith Library for Washington DC. I don't see nothing. So Britain it make mistake for that. So that is illegality number one. The root cause of the problem. They now come now for UN. Resolution 76B, now this way I don't talk. Then for talk about the 1514 UN General Assembly 1514 paragraph 15 of 14 December 1960. All they be meant for say all these territories where they've been at UN trust territories, they begin for prepare them for unconditional independence. Unconditional independence. No man, they did not begin for being Anne, Eve, and birds here. So the question be said, they don't prepare we for unconditional independence? The answer be said no. So now in 1961, okay, in 1961, the UN conduct a plebiscite. for Southern Cameroon. They give it now 2 questions. They deny the number 3 question where Foncha and Ndele they ask the option for total independence. And what you will get to understand, I say, plebiscite or referendum is just an expression of interest by a people for something. And so the results of that plebiscite get to be implemented. Now this brings in the UN Resolution 1608, paragraph 5, section 15, paragraph 5, which was a bibina after the plebiscite for say that paragraph 5 to say we Southern Cameroon's government, the French Cameroon government, the UN, the UK, and France, we begin for sit down, then decide on the terms of any union. Then they come out with some document where they will call them say na legal document or treaty of union, where they go file them for UN for say yes, we don't agree, say we will be one country under the following terms. With that thing, it never take place. That treaty, that legal document, because that meeting, hold. Something happened from Fumba, and they call them party time. Nothing not happened for Fumba. So we don't get that document where it really bind with, we get a federation with the results of the plebiscite be implemented. So everything I say, illegality, through illegality to illegality to illegality, so they can reach now illegality. So now the root cause of the problem, I say, paragraph 5 of the UN General Assembly Resolution 1608, section 15, has not been implemented. That's the root cause. Uncompleted decolonization process by the United Nations, evidenced by the non-implementation of UN General Assembly 1608, section 15, paragraph 5 of 21st April 1961. And the second root cause, I said, they suppress with rights to territorial self-determination. And the third root cause, I say, the violation of the UN Article 76B, where I don't mention, UN General Assembly 1514, paragraph 15 of December 14, 1960, will be described unconditional independence. So now the root cause of the problem is this: UN, you have not finished your job. And I talk so well with the whole, now UN the whole now, this is the moment where I tell UN, now small mistake, now mistake when I make them. When the whole now, fix it. When I fit 1 second, fix this thing. For say, okay, when I be don't vote safe, in 1961, when I be don't vote, 64 votes for, 23 abstentions, and 10 no for the independence of the Southern Cameroon. What I don't do when I work, now just enforce it. Just enforce it. Cameroon says safe, La République du Cameroon, be vote against the resolution 1608. So they not even one way. So the people that know one way, why did they try for push it for them? They know one way. BI don't even talk for Paris. They don't try for assimilate way. They know one way. And we are not part of them. Can the UN just fix this thing now? Thank you.
Prof, thank you very much. Uncle B, I want to ask you, say, what happened where we were part of they be accept for join these people them? I don't know your own take where Uncle B. I don't know if you know why were people they be vote for join this La République. Uncle B.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fritz. Before I get to that part of the question, may I talk something other for way Prof don't talk. Say when you want to do something, you don't first get bad heart. You hardly see the other side of the story. The problem I say, when League of Nations to the and from there they go United Nations, we put under France and Britain after that First World War, or Second World War, sorry. The problem I say when I prepare the people for independence and nothing else than that, prepare them for independence. But a question with others, they say they will prepare for independence. Did we have the independence? The assignment where the United Nations began for La République, I mean for Britain, me prepare for independence. They don't even go have. When they were, they thought they made it masquerade. I hate job. We don't already did it for take over from we. Why it happened so? When I talk say bad thing, I say, seeing that game where La République, I mean La République and France, it was a system in place where the blood keep and say they get to assimilate with as for BRB talk. Because there was no way they could not vote for independence because they did not get I say they get to take under them like their own people. So they don't be get right for vote because they vote for get independent. I wonder why people don't know one thing here. They too they talk say we and La République and say when they be divided with Southern Cameroons, now the first country for Africa where it be get free and will be get our government before we go to that 61 that they talk. Self-governed, where we get our institution them. But I ask question today, say it will be getting them. Why they begin to take we put them under someone. And the United Nations will talk say make economic factors, it not be nothing where you use them for you know you independent for people. But then they began to say, oh, we're not able to manage ourselves. But now the work of France and Britain, they can't take we put that under France. Now a question with the ask and say, if they be giving for Britain, say maybe we'll go independent. Outside the independent, why you know we take way to independent? I know why we get the people problem already talk. Outside the independence day where we tell we go there. You see, when we talk about the root cause for where this thing, now the first point bad faith, chief man way he want kill some man. So he must first of all get bad heart. And then how bad heart the bad heart way France and Britain the between I say they must take we under La République. And if you take under La République, automatically now friendship property we don't take them. Because from we don't make up, but they say even they make life or La République is a gift, they make independence. It was not independent at all because everything material. Me I tell when I study for here, they tell La République sign and will not even sign and I say any money when La République get them, they keep and for their bank for France. 80% they keep for France. And if you want to take money for the borrow na borrow. And then again, another problem will be I say they tell La République anything and La République sign and say anything we did for La République it did nothing they for soil. Like the oil with the make and so now France will get to move that oil. Except the disaster no go do one before La République do one. But now will not be there with La République for that time they made that agreement. So when we can't join La République when a masquerade where they do one, automatically they thought say we don't carry La République their trouble. Now we they ask and say we will not be dead time when I medicine. How will not be victim, we will not be dead. And even that time they want to make that election, my brother and sister, they're giving a yes for all sides. And they all Cameroon they be vote. Tell me, say, if Cameroon will be there only two, if Cameroon will be there at 8, example, they 2. And then if all with the vote, tell me how we 2 will win 8. And we 8 will win, they will vote for one side. So the can't say either you like for join Nigeria or you like for down the Southern Cameroon. Answer yes or yes. And that yes, I say for friends, I say we. For England, I say yes. So all will be a yes. But the question you ask today is, if all will be a yes, why not be being at 100%? Because the vote was supposed to be 100%. Everybody that voted was supposed to be 100%. So why was the percentage voted not 100%? Because they were not known. So I want to show my brother and sister say all the 20 they make and so now just get with the big power that they don't put up for place. They must take the people under them. They don't feel leave them where they go. Now they are subjects. Therefore, it don't be like say with the first time they give with independence. Another African, they give independence, move for trouble. Another African country, it colonize we, and that's where we are today. Now, we're talking about people that know this thing. See, if you be man, we not say we get papa, you get mama. Pa, they get it picking them. Pa, they give it your cheer for picking. We know say it get hard way. 85 for way to way or maintain way to you, but don't keep up for them. A 5 will bring more. But then it will be woe unto that picking we partly power for you, a leave property you take and sell them. We will day today, what's our position day? How much more will they put our in place? Will be we don't see eye, we don't see light. But also to we part they be keep and for we they not be complete and we'll get it completed. But wait till it happen. So when they tell you no, with the men I'm saying for to more complete and more continue for be what you will be, more continue for be what we that we don't be a thief or TV and everything. But then we are fighting today. Let that become we probably give property for ye. I didn't say the man somebody why can't thief him? If fighters say you know if the property, if uphold if I will, to say not under my word, you can't thief probably keep for me. Nothing would do and today that for Amazonia. To cut it short.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you know, Pa just come. I want, you know, Pa is our oracle, and he knows a lot. Pa, Pandi, you're welcome, Pa.
Thank you.
Pa, I want to ask you, say, may you tell Ambazonian them this problem because you be there, that way the thing be happen. For that very, we don't rule ourselves. That will believe that Nigeria house of for Inugu. I want me to tell Ambazonian them. Wait till be happen where una believe the house for Inugu, una come now, then una come, then the sticker ask una say, una vote for go join Nigeria or for can't join La Republic. How your money live some place, then he say, you go back, go join them. So, Pa, I want me to tell Ambazonian them, how did thing be happen where una believe Fumba, una go so una go do all that thing, but talk now, I want more talk about why una believe that house for Nigeria, una come for Ambazonia, then what to be happen? Pandi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Yeah, you want to restrict me to that one, but I want to go back small for where Professor Ayim start. But talk say we side. That means say if you take River Mungo, divide we there we on for west, the other people they on for east. It be like say when God will make we make even before these white people they come, the way we look think them for we side it be different. The way they look think them for their side it be different. And we were with this time, we get to understand say from long time. Now so God will make we say we see things different from the people for the other side. People where they grew up other than me, they will hear something where they always talk for we side. Some quotation say too late Hewitt. Hewitt was supposed to be man where England the center. Maybe you can take all we. This one they talk say German Cameroon, so they gave up being English Cameroon from long time. But it not happen because Englishman be the drag your foot. But before Englishman be the drag your foot, we get to understand say people then for the other side. Well, maybe for lack of a better word, they were kind of insecure about themselves. They were feeling insecure about themselves. But on our side, people were very confident. Remember, Chief Dambodwala, they will write book, the big England make it can colonize them. Now their book for Douala, for we side, from the Navy Shidong, write book say make Englishman can colonize them. Because they be feel say they be capable or live their lives without white man controlling them. Now one thing that we give a note. Then in the end, as the Englishman, he delayed for come. And what was the reason why that Douala chief them with the big England may can colonize them? The reason be said they be come out for Douala by sea, go Calabar, where Englishman will already be. Then they see as Englishman they make Calabar be, na ye the langa say Englishman to come Douala can make Douala be like Calabar. But for we side, I think along West Coast, people that will go Calabar come back. But sometimes there will be where they will talk, say, hey, can't colonize we. You know, so they were confident in their sovereignty. Then finally, as Englishman delay, then German he come. Listen, you go start for Douala, they sign book. But when the one come for we side, that book for sign it never be easy. Any backward man way, you know, say the real backward man way, you know where he come out. You could remember, say, when the German they will come for we side, beginning from downside, they will go boy, they meet one King Cover. Now you name that King Cover. Any man go refer. It was not easy. They didn't just come there and sign book. They came. Cover said he is not going to surrender his sovereignty to any white man. There was a war. First war, King Cover defeated the Germans. If you go Douala, there is a monument in Douala in honor of the commanding officer that was killed in that war. And then when they moved north, remember, it wasn't easy for the Germans to just go there and tell the people in Mancon, we are here to colonize you. And then they would just say, bring paper with sign. No, they had to fight. The same thing they went to Bafoot, they had to fight. But for the other side, it was easy. They just go, now paper this, sign up, thumbprint. You are colonized. And all this. So now that has been our spirit. But we want to maintain our sovereignty. We are capable of controlling ourselves, and we're not going to surrender to any persons. Okay, well, they had all the firepower, so we were more or less subdued, and then the World War came. Then the other correction that I need to insert here, when the Germans were creating their territories, the French were creating, the English were creating. Those who did European history, you remember that there was something like the Moroccan crisis, first and second Moroccan crisis between France and Germany, as to who was going to be in control of Morocco. And then in the end, they agreed amongst themselves that the French would control Morocco on certain conditions, that they were going to give up territory in the Central African region in compensation to the French, to the Germans, which they did. The Germans took territory from present-day Gabon, from present-day Congo, from present-day Central Africa, from present-day Chad. So if we are talking of German Cameroon, nobody on the other side is saying, where is that German Cameroon that was Gabon, Congo, Central Africa, Chad? Because as soon as the French defeated the Germans, they started rearranging the territory that they had with German Cameroon and cut out the portions that they had surrendered to Germany in compensation for the Moroccan crisis. So if we are talking of German Cameroon, we should be going back to say, where's German Cameroon that is Gabon? Where's German Cameroon that is Congo? Where's German Cameroon that is Chad? They are not doing that. So why are they going to say, oh, it has to be us because we used to be German Cameroon? That argument doesn't hold in terms of the things that they are doing and what they are, whatever. They have not been going to Nigeria and saying they want Northern Cameroon that used to be part of German Cameroon. We have never heard them do that. They have never said that. They have never petitioned that. But Northern Cameroon, like Southern Cameroon, still used to be part of this German protectorate. But by the history of World War I, the Germans were defeated. And when the Germans were defeated, German Cameroon was split unevenly. The French took the larger part, the English took the smaller part. And even the smaller part that the English took, they split it into Southern Cameroon and Northern Cameroon. But again, the people, especially in that other part they call Southern Cameroon, their own way of thinking has always been different from time immemorial. Maybe the people in the north, when they went them to Adamawa or whatever it was in Nigeria there, they felt, okay, when we went there and we were attached to Eastern Nigeria, we were not okay. And so we told the English that we don't want to be treated as part of Eastern Nigeria because our way of looking at things is different. And we want to maintain that different way of looking at things. And then the English discovered that we were serious. And then they capitulated on that and pulled us out of Eastern Nigeria to let us go our way and do our business and grow as a protectorate, as a trusteeship of the United Nations, and then to win our independence, which we eventually were supposed to win until people started playing games again. And then the games they were playing this time, the English came out, oh, you people don't have resources, this and this. Crazy idea. They didn't say that of Gambia, because those of us who went to elementary school and were studying about all of West Africa, all of Africa, we knew that the only export crop that Gambia had was granite. Granite. That was all they had. And nobody is going to say that a bag of granite is more than a bag of coffee in value, or a bag of cocoa in value, or a bag of palm kernel in value. So we had all of these things, but for some strange reason, the English just say, oh, made that type of argument. You people don't have the ways to maintain. Oh yeah, but they gave independence to Gambia, which incidentally in population was smaller than Southern Cameroons. In terms of resources, was poorer than Southern Cameroons. So we probably just be the unlucky people, more or less. But we are saying that we are not going to die as slaves just because some people think that we are unlucky. We are really not unlucky.
Sir, I want to ask you something here, because people want to know, why is it that British government handed us to La Republique? Because with all this being ruled ourselves for almost 19 years, then the British is handing us to La Republique. Then Aijo accepted that he's not going to colonize us, But what happened? So please, can you tell the audience what happened that the British handed us to La Republique, and they were saying that we have to be as federated states?
Well, there's a lot of speculation on that, and who knows? Were the English happy? Kind of like the white people don't like when black people challenge them, right? Yeah, historically it's been like that. When you're a black man that is trying to show kind of sense, they don't like it. Even in the French Cameroons, remember the history of Pantou Massa, when he got this French colonial administrator well beaten, whatever it was, and then they went after his life. Yeah, because he brought the spirit from our side, that whether you be white man or you be which one, we don't care. If you try to show some stupid sense, we'll show you our own stupid sense, where you regret. So there's a lot of speculation as to what really happened, that the English were acting the way they were acting. Maybe they were not happy that we didn't just surrender to them when they said we should be part of Eastern Nigeria. Who knows? Maybe they were not, because it was not easy for them to just say, okay, go you and be in Boya. No, they wanted us to be in Enugu. But we insisted on going us to Boya, and then they finally surrendered to us. So on the score of that, maybe they were harboring some ill feeling about these stubborn black people. Who knows? That could be. There are also speculations that at the time when countries were asking for this independence, there was this rift between East and West. Soviet Russia and the rest of the capitalist West. And they were probably apprehensive about us being independent. And then for some reason, they could have been apprehensive about the fact that on the other side, because people who ended up being handed the platter of independence on the other side were not the people that really fought for it. The people that fought for it were people like Nyobe of the UPC, you know. But
Thank you.
their approach to independence was not the type that the French really liked. And then since they actually were fighting to get it the way we are doing now, I think, and their approach and who was supporting them, and then the fact that occasionally they were coming to our side to say when things got too hot, like the displaced people we now have in Nigeria, their displaced people were actually coming to Southern Cameroon. So I think on the score of that, they probably felt, since those UPC people were saying, oh, they want that German Cameroon thing, maybe they thought that if they succeeded and had us, who knows, they will create a territory where their sponsors will have access, because they were Soviet. They were more inclined to the Soviet way of life. So they were all crazy calculations as at that time. So that could be one, that if they allowed us, then those people, the UPC people, may use us to gain authority to the east of the Mungo, and then that will create a lot of avenue for the Soviet Union to push in there. That's speculative.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can
Professor
argue
Ayim.
about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Professor Ayim, I want you to give us a little bit of the legal implication about British government handing us to La Republique, and the Ahijo government made a commitment that they are not going to colonize us. They are going to respect our boundaries. They're going to respect our laws and institutions. But what happened along the line? This is what they call black on black colonization. Professor Ayim.
Yes. Before I explain that, let me just throw a point to correct our comrade Mandy, that Lebielem Bangwa was one fondom that was never defeated by the Germans. So in his list, let him add Bangwa there. Lebielem, put it that way. Okay. Now, when I spoke, I talked about illegality from A to Z. You cannot rationalize British actions. First of all, an entire territory, British Cameroons, was given to them to prepare that territory towards independence. They were not supposed to do anything else but to prepare these British Cameroons to full unconditional independence in accordance with UN article.
Exactly.
They violated that. They violated that. And there is nothing in the Dakamasho library in UN to show their partitioning of that territory, British Cameroons, into British Northern Cameroons and British Southern Cameroons. That's another illegality. There is nothing to show that. And Britain, I don't know why they decided to act irrationally. The third thing was that plebiscite was enforced on us. Two alternatives were enforced on our people, to either be this way or that way. And that is another illegality. You don't do that without considering the opinion and the wishes of the people. That third option should have been there, but it was not. So Britain was not really our friend. Okay? Now, the fourth illegality is the non-implementation of the UN, the plebiscite, or the referendum. Now, come to see, on September 30th, 1961, Britain handed our territory to Ahijo, not to Foncha, who was the prime minister. That is another illegality. My question to Britain and the UK is, why were you so involved in illegality when it comes to British Cameroon from A to Z? So I hold them totally responsible for that. Maybe by the plebiscite, they were thinking that the result would go their way so that we be under Nigeria. That did not happen. They could be angry with that. But you are angry over an illegality. You're angry over a result of an illegality that you had created from the word go. Who are supposed to be angry? We British Southern Cameroonians? We Amazonians? Or you Britain? Did you do what you were asked to do by the UN? And my question to the UN, did Britain actually execute the terms that you speculated to them, you specified to them? If not, Britain should be punished. Our independence should be restored unconditionally. If articles and resolutions of the UN have been violated, and we know that, and you are holding now, fix the problem. Now we have genocide ongoing. Houses are burned, people are killed, children are killed, pregnant women are killed. The whole territory is under genocidal onslaught. All these lives should not have been lost. No one single life should have been lost. Because we were not at fault. You can imagine that a country that did not even vote to have us in UN Resolution 1608 has the guts now to attack us, invade us, and are labeling us terrorists. My question to the UN is, what's going on? How can somebody be that wrong and then allow the person go on and on and on? Where is the UN? You can fix this in 1 minute. That's what I keep saying. You can fix this in 1 minute.
Okay. Yes, that's very true, sir. Let me go to Uncle B. Uncle B.
Yeah, let me say something, Mr. Fritz, and to what my able colleagues are saying here. You see, that's what I told you. It was the normal international Weimar conspiracy. We deeply, because there's no reason why you could think that Chad could be independent. Equatorial Guinea could be independent. Central African Republic could be independent. All those places, Equatorial Guinea population is not even up to the Southern Zone's population. And they were independent. So the idea that we're not able to manage ourselves, if Chad, that is completely a desert country, or Equatorial Guinea or Central Africa or Congo, they could be able to manage themselves. Why not us? It is the same acts of evil. When you see even till today, the place till today, where France goes, they have the American, they have the Germany, that it is a team. And nobody will want to challenge the other person or say where that man did. That's why our case is taking too long, otherwise it would have been resolved a long time ago. France will tell your friend, Master, now for here, the chop now. Why would I come move chop for my mob? Just before the one move Gaddafi for cheer. Nobody in France begin to move Gaddafi for cheer. Nobody don't call America. That okay, can't give me air power, Britain, give us sea power. Maybe they do Britain. Come on. Now that acts all the way, it is being manifested until today with the top years old. And there's one thing that we were able to deal with me, because this thing has always puzzled me, because I don't make like 1 or 2 audios asking questions about this. Because there's this assertion where people they talk say we were one. I want me someone define for me when we were one and how we were one. Because all I know is that even when colonization began for Africa, they were treating with these chiefs individually and not collectively. If you want to sign book as proctor, you will sign with the dwellers. You will sign separately. You will sign book with the Bakri separately. You will sign book, you go from graphic, you sign separately. Because at the time, the fundum that I think were existing that time that were powerful would be the Com Palace, the Sub Palace, and with others. Mm-hmm. So if people were treated individually until the one man can do colonization, if they come at that time, because these communities, what they did was they have their boundary the way we do in the villages. This is my farm, this is my farm. There had never been any international recognized boundary. But they were during the colonization, international boundaries, and towards independence, they say when you are getting independent, that way you have international recognized boundaries. Where did we ever live together? We never spoke one language. Ethnicity was not one. We never had the same system of education, court system, the Department of Justice. They were never the same. So where were we one? We had never been governed together. And these chiefs, they were not a paramount. Okay, all this area were under me. It's okay, they took it from there and said, okay, we were one. So how did they come about with the idea to say that we were one? I want somebody to define to me how we were one. What did we do together with the French before colonization and after towards independence? What did we do as that during German time as Prof. and my able partners? All the Congo, the Chad, all those things were under the German. We mean that we are the northern Nigeria and northern Cameroon and southern Cameroon were together the same. There was not any internationally or any domineering chiefs that these people are under. So where were we when and when? If from that time chiefdoms to colonization can they give a boundary, and we had independent individually, they had the other, and we had where do we operate as one person? For them to always give that so that we were one. When did that happen? I want to know whether I get answer to that question or
Uncle B. Thank you, Uncle B.
yes.
Let me ask Pa this, because Pa was there when this plebiscite happened. How can they ask us, do you wish to have independence by joining somebody? I don't know if independence means joining somebody to be independent. We are the only country on earth that was asked to have independence by joining another country. I don't understand. So I want to Pa tell us how. I want Pa tell us how this thing be happen. We they be accept the kind thing. How you get independence? Say, may you join some person. Panzi.
Yeah, yeah, me wanna make the PAME be 2-0, you know. Actually, when the plebiscite was taking place, I was in phase 1. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, in phase 1 would have been like, is that kindergarten today? Yeah, what they have as kindergarten or something. Yeah, but that's where I was when the plebiscite took place. But that notwithstanding, I am saying that it again comes down to the same situation that Professor Ayim has described about the illegalities that had to do with us, but not illegalities that will say that the ignorance of our people as at the time made them not to be aware. They were aware. If you go and read Dr. Endele's argument against this plebiscite question, it will show to you that people were thinking, even though at the time they were book people they never did like we get it now. But people that had be there for that time. So not only what Dr. Endele's argument was. Look at what the founder of Bafut said at the time. He said this choice between Nigeria and French Cameroon is the most stupid thing that as fun he had ever had. That because they are asking us to choose whether to die by drowning or to choose to die in a lake of fire. Whichever of these, we are going to die anyway. And that was the fund of Bafut, not some PhD fund. No, fund of Bafut, as at the time. That was his reasoning. And he made it public and clear that the plebiscite question was bogus because they're giving a people two impossible choices, because no matter which way they go, it's not going to be easy for them. So that again comes down to our leaders in those days were capable of sitting down and seeing what other people at the top of the tree may not even be able to see. So I cannot say for sure how we came about it, but it goes back to the same illegality as those powers were insistent on, because it came down to where they were saying, this is the only way you can have your independence. And of course, the choices were not very there for us. So we gamble on choosing to die by fire or choosing to die by drowning. So I don't know which one we ended with. Maybe I think the French one was the fire one, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah, it was the
Fireable.
fire. Yeah, the more terrible one. But all was going to end in our lives
Thank you very much.
being in trouble anyway.
We are free.
Prof, yes, Uncle B, let me
Yes,
come to you. Let me talk to Prof, because I want Prof to come in here, because
yes.
we have been colonized and recolonized. So I want Prof to tell us, because we have had different names. This is the only country with more than 10 different names. I don't understand. From British Trust Territory, British Colonial Trust Territory of Southern Cameroon, to British man. So this is too much for us. So I want Professor Ayim to tell us why was this happening only to us?
That is a good question. Why was it only happening to us? And that brings in the reason for the coining of the name Amazonia by von Gojidinka, which he said Chief Iwusi had proposed it in '61, and they had discussed it in Mountain Hotel Boya, but he brought it up in 1985 to give us this identity. Because at some point, even La Republique said Southern Cameroon was in Bolowa. And believe it or not, that is the argument they used to get the membership in the Commonwealth. Commonwealth. And who's in charge of Commonwealth? So using Southern Cameroon was playing into the hands of La Republique. Therefore, it necessitated the name that reflects our identity as individuals, as a territory, Amazonia. So now we're using Southern Cameroon's Amazonia. So that is some historical connection with Southern Cameroon that was in the books, in the UN, and the new name we're transitioning to Amazonia. Now it is easier for everybody to easily say, oh, Amazonia, Federal Republic of Amazonia. That solves the problem of United Nations Trust Territory under United Kingdom of that. You see, so this is where we are. We have come that far. We are where we are, and the name Amazonia is grounded. To the young ones listening to me now, you don't know what the meaning of Amazonia is. Amazonia is the land beyond the Ambas Bay. Ambas Bay is our bay. So the land beyond Ambas Bay is called Amazonia. That land could even extend to Lake Chad. It's beyond Ambas Bay, right? So that is the meaning of Amazonia, and that's the name we settled on. You know, talking about independence by joining, that again points out to the complicity of the UN. And very good people at English, but they decided to play with words. Even with that, our people met in Manfred during a Manfred conference and proposed a third alternative, which was full-fledged independence. To Fonabumbi's, Chirimbi's credit, they came up with the third alternative, which is the full independence. As wise as he was then, which is still showing now, we thank God for him. So this independence by joining there are two components. The first component is they were voting for independence. So the people voted for independence. The second component is the joining. It is the joining that is implementation of paragraph 5, which has not been implemented. So the joining has not taken place. So since the joining has not taken place, there's no legal document to show the joining. Everything has been illegal since '61 to today. And so since the joining has not taken place and we have risen up to restore what we were, please just give us what we were. After all, La Republique, when they had the independence for January 1960, we were not part of them. We have internationally defined boundaries. Okay, Africa Union. Let me just throw this one point, please. Africa Union Constitutive Act 4B says that boundaries inherited at independence should not be violated. Why is La Republique violating their boundary at independence? The Green Tree Agreement in 2009, Kofi Annan, by then UN Secretary General, both President Basanjo and Biya had signed that they were going to return to their boundaries at independence. It's there, signed, documented. Okay, Nigeria pulled to its boundary at independence. La Republique is still here. Why? So they're even disrespecting the very UN and UN Accord right in front of the eyes of the UN. They got to go. They got to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to ask Uncle B. Say, Uncle B, I want to know this thing. Say, why be say we not there for time where La Republique they get their independence for the 1960. We get our independence now 1961. Why be say they can't ask we some more join them where they get their independence separately? Why they not be giving independence for 1961? Say we more give a full-fledged independence. Why they be ask we some more join now La Republique? Because La Republique get independence now 1960, where we not be part of their independence. The worst thing I say, their constitution where they take them. They go take them, say, more use that their same constitution. I want to ask Uncle B, say, may tell me how what you know about Fumban conference. Because our Fumban conference where the manipulation go happen. So my Uncle B try to tell me more about this thing where it happen, where like probably go take their constitution, can put up our own constitution. They talk say now they are say now the federal constitution that so Uncle B.
Yeah, Mr. Frisch, I will always say before I get there, let me throw out this.
Right.
Even that name, there was no name like Cameroon until the Portuguese came. So what will we call them? If they say we were one, did we ever have a name together with them? No. How will we call them? You cannot say. But we're called individually according to our territories. But then until the Portuguese came and gave the name Cameroons, which is Cameroon, we call them today French, Portuguese, French, and English. So the idea of we were one, there was never any name, there was never any Cameroon. Cameroon, they bring me Cameroon, and why I can't get that and say Cameroon? So when were we one? That said, Mr. Fritz, I want to think that why, as Pato say, you might not have been my way be orchestrate that thing. The only simple reason, as I don't really talk, was the international conspiracy, the acts of evil, where you don't be big man there, you don't want to lose, you want to get, you freely go and get. But the common man is the one that is always suffering from the powers of the big power. Because you would not tell me, as I already said, we were in Fumban, and unfortunately in Fumban, the British people, when they prepare way for independence, they threw away, they not come them. We went there. Can you imagine a class 7 liver, Mr. Agim, going to Fumban to draw a constitution, all those things? France was with La Republique all the way, but Britain abandoned us because they don't really sell away from France, and that mechanism we not really put in place that we get to give Southern Cameroon to France. So there was no need for Britain for the worry that they get to follow up where to be they have to. They were the one that they began to talk for were places, but all the three professors, the illegality professor, they talk for here the day, but they stay quiet and never did it because of the white man or the superpower axis of evil where was it in play here. Mr. Free, the problem you will get up here say if we went, as I read somewhere, that when they got to Fumban, Ahijo had sent a draft constitution to Poncha. And when they come from back, Ahijo will say, where's your own constitution? Wait for them to study. I might not be very 100% correct because I think this is what happened. But in order for the Indian ask for Poncha, also the constitution began there. Poncha opened his eye. He didn't really bring it. So they had to regroup someday for them to come out with something to present. Even though all of what they present was still disqualified by La Republique Cameroon and France that were there, but it was then that they were scrambling to see what to do. But the good thing they did is they refused to sign even when Professor you go to it. the Union Treaty, and they didn't sign it. And that is what is giving all the powers today. We were abandoned by the British. And the Republic Cameroon was being monitored and told them what? It didn't to them, man. You see, when Pobia want make the power, it go here and for France, we can't make any pronouncement. It what change government of France, it doesn't mean do. It started from day till today. That they had taken us as their slaves or their chop farm. So how do you let your chop farm go? Even all the legality will talk for years so. The world is silent. Why? Because France and La République, they are the top. Any man will look aside. But which demands on us to fight to the last man standing. If you don't leave until, okay, they were not serious. That's why they don't leave and quickly. But if they were serious, they will fight on. And that may be what they are wanting to see from us. How resilient, how determined we are to make sure that we can govern ourselves, we can be somebody. So in Fumban, we were abandoned. And the international conspiracy was in play. So the people could do what they could do in terms of rambling to get something done, but then with the great power, with a lot of book for their head, all that kind of thing, how they began to pass and through. How many of us when they are compared to food they become from that French side and the French food that we did it? If we did the Southern Cameroon and the Southern Cameroon and the Southern Cameroon in that place, how many of us were there compared to La République, to Cameroon in numbers? And they have crafted Ahijo in a way that it just came there to pronounce the French constitution, and that's exactly what happened. It was never rectified in our own house. It was never modified for anything. It just went into force without asking whether we accept it or not. So that is the conspiracy that was in place until today. Thank you so much.
Pamanjong, I want to ask, we had our own police force called the mobile police then. Why is it that La République brought the gendarmes and the army to come and occupy our territory? Because after that Fumban conference, Ahijo brought the gendarmes to come and occupy our land, where we had our own police force called the mobile police, well-trained, very intelligent police force. Pamanjong, can you tell us a little bit what happened then?
Yeah, I think that the people on the other side, it's not like, yeah, they may look funny, but it's not like they were very, very stupid or something. At least they could see the difference between two things. On our side, we were pursuant of legality. It's not like the prime minister in West Cameroon had so much power that he could just see somebody's wife or something, or see somebody's farm, And then the police, it's not like they could just go out there and be making things up, and getting money from people or putting people in detention. Yes. Ordinarily, the policeman went around with a button stick to keep the peace, not to threaten people. But on their side, the gendarme went around with a gun, because with a gun, he can threaten and he can use force when not necessary. So, Ahijo realized that unless he starts on day one pushing the use of force into our area, with time it was going to probably get difficult. So when he had his opportunity, he used it by bringing the gendarmes in and taking the police out, giving more power to the gendarmes as opposed to the police that had always been in charge. And the reason for it was, if he has the gendarmes in charge when it comes to the use of force, they will use it. Because in West Cameroon, which was Southern Cameroons becoming West Cameroon, it's not like the prime minister can just tell the police, hey, go and hunt down that guy. Yeah, any policeman that takes such type of orders tomorrow, the judge was going to ask you, what was the merit of that order that you went and executed? And if you cannot show it, you the policeman, you go to jail. As simple as that. On our side,
that's true, sir.
of the moon.
Yeah.
So
Thank
the
you.
people on the other side who are interested in illegality and in the use of force, they couldn't ask us to maintain that, because if they ask us to maintain that, then we will keep boring them with the rule of law, which they are not interested in. So they send in the gendarmes who are there to enforce the use of force, to overpower our police or take over from our police, who were more interested in the recognition of the rule of law, because no policeman went out to arrest anybody without a warrant of arrest. That's the truth about it. But gendarmes don't need a warrant of arrest. They can make their own warrant of arrest by simply inviting you to the gendarmerie, and if you don't show up, they come and then they beat you up and take you there by force, which was not
true.
practiced in West Cameroon.
Yes, that's true.
Or in the Southern Cameroon.
Mr. Professor, let me
chime in here a little bit about
let me come in here, because I want to add something, and I ask you a question, because we have seen that La Republique is running away from dialogue. They are running away to come and talk. Since 1964, we know even Bernard Fallon called for dialogue. Foncha did, the other people did, but La Republique has never gone for any true dialogue with our people, meaning that they are very guilty of what they did and what they are still doing to us. So I want Professor Ayim to tell us, what can we do to bring La Republique to the negotiation table? Let's finish this thing once and for all. Professor Ayim.
Listen, we do not have any honors to bring La Republique or force them to come to the table. It is the international community, it is the UN that have that obligation to force La Republique to come to the negotiating table. On our part, we are ready, we are preparing. We are not going to have any extra pressure of trying to force La Republique. We are doing what we need to do to defend ourselves. It is the UN, it's the international community to answer that question. You see what I mean? And talking about running away from dialogue is a trademark of La Republique. They prefer a monologue. They prefer to talk to themselves. They prefer to be like two teams playing a football game. One team, the coach of one team is the referee and the coach of both teams. Does that make sense? So La Republique prefers to even want to handpick those who should be speaking for us, even those that are under their control in their jails. So they want to be the ones to call the shot and control the narrative. That is not correct. There was something that happened in Yaoundé. They call it the Grand National Dialogue. I call it a Grand National Monologue. It was null and void. They talk to themselves. If you are that confident of yourself, La Republique, if you know that what you're doing is right, go to the table, sit there and present your case. That is the most civilized way of solving problems. People go to the table, sit and talk and negotiate, and there is a mediator, and you agree on something. That's a civilized way of going about things to maintain peace and order and progress. So it is the international community, my brother, and the UN that have to bring La Republique to the table. I don't think they have a choice, La Republique. They have to come to that table. Because we, in Ambazonia, we will continue to do what we want to do and escalate because we are defending our territory. And we will continue to defend our territory till the last person standing because we are right. You understand?
Thank you very much.
We're not begging them to come to the table. They will have to come to the table.
Can I add something?
Thank you very. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Uncle B, let me ask you a little bit of this question. I know you add what you want to add, but I want to find out why did Aijo go ahead and changed the federal constitution in 1972. What really happened that he has to change this constitution and change everything? Uncle B.
Yes, Mr. Fritz. First of all, let me handle this thing about our police force. The gendarmes are known as a weapon of oppression. They come with a gun and we were with sticks. There was no way for us to resist them coming. We don't have to surrender because they came with guns and were prepared to shoot. And we had but sticks cannot. And to get to that, ladies and gentlemen, what is the peculiar here now? It's a project put in place that will execute them. So if you ask us which they change the name, it's a continuation of we are talking, they have tried to assimilate work. It's something that was put in place since in the 60s that we got there with France and Britain. They had put that in place to get us as part of the Francophonie, or they call it what. So it's just a continuation. There was no way. The changing of names and finally, they will not be to Cameroon that way. They came into union with. That's why Chief Dinka answered the question. So if you have returned to your name that you brought into union, we made to become the United Federal Republic of Cameroon. You then change it to United Republic of Cameroon, and now finally to Labrie to Cameroon. Then you left the union and not all living, because we still maintain the name. But if you then abandon us, then you are the one that succeeded and not us. So if they did that, it was just a continuation until we are having the bribing us, they're doing everything so that we should not have a way out to leave the French. It is a system that they just systematically executing what has been planned. And that's why they're still happening till today. Make them fight, make them hate each other, so that they will never come out with a concerted effort to say that okay, we're fighting for. But unfortunately, it finally happened 2016-17. That's why they are caught pumps down. Tell me with something that you thought they deny for comfortable. Mr. Afri, how you will manage go table where your food never be dragged to the malt? You relieve your farm. You have a program, you don't keep until today you'll be trying to get the food as your slave of your child farm. And then you ask someone, say, why they don't agree for camp? Because they don't have a case. When they can wait, they will talk. If they present all the paper you the talk for you, all the illegality into something like an international court that is going to be, what are they going to say? So the only thing they know is brute. The only thing they know is oppression. The only thing they know is to fight and think that they will subdue us to obedience. But then it will be difficult to bring us to subdue us to that level. At one time, we must say enough is enough. And I tell that the professor, like the IM, and most of us, and those of you who are already educated, we can ask questions. As I said, a father leaves a property to a son. If the son who doesn't fight for that property the father left for him is a lazy son, and it cannot be what called a son. So we are just exercising that power that our father left for us, our own country, Southern Cameroons. And somebody came to steal it. So what you will do, fight for it till the last person standing. That's exactly what we are doing. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, I want to ask Pa Manji, Pa Manjong, I want to know, for that federal thing where we be getting with La Republique, they be talk say Southern Cameroon will control either the military or the administrative side, or they'll control the judiciary side, or they'll control some other or the educational side. But La Republique take all things for we. They don't give it no powers. So I want to ask Pam Manjong say now how did thing be happen that time, because we want to know why it be say La Republique the full way for this federal union, then they can't cancel the union, then we find get two flags, two star there for that flag. They can't put on a one star. So I want to ask Pam Manjong say now what did it happen for this time where all the thing did happen so?
But before I get there, let me just touch on something that Professor Ayim said about dialogue. The history is there, pure and clear. And probably let us not dance around it. when we are talking of enablers, our own brothers and sisters being enablers, let's be honest to ourselves. Professor Ayim knows of the case that was pursued in front of the African Commission for Human and People's Rights, which is an arm of the AU in Banjul. Professor Ayim knows that when Dr. Gumni went there to pursue the case, on the opposite side, the leader of the team against Dr. Gumni's submission, Gumni and Co.'s submission, was none other than Chief Dr. John Ngute. He's not from Douala, he's not from Marwa, he's not from Ebolowa, he's not from Betua. He's from Diak. Let's be honest about it. He's from Diak, you know. And then he went there and actually he argued that we are not different from the other people. But the commission finally ruled that in terms of the evidence that was presented in front of it, we are different from those people in terms of our educational system, our judicial system, our ways of life in general, the way we look at law and illegality and stuff. It was agreed that we are different from those people. And then that commission said, what? If we have to live together, they are recommending dialogue. So this dialogue thing is not something they're hearing today. They have always heard it from the AU through its Commission on Human and People's Rights that ruled in Banjul. I think it was in 2007. And they had a deadline that they expected the dialogue to take place. It was Chief Dr. John Ngute that went and asked for an extension. So this is a fact. He went and asked for an extension, and then they still violated their own extension that they asked for. And then he came around to preside over a bogus dialogue, a dialogue in name and not in reality. So we should call a spade a spade. We should call a spade a spade. And of course,
Thank you.
The truth is, when you are a subjugator or a colonialist, there is this marvelous theory of subjugation propounded by a Norwegian scholar. I think his name is Johan Galton, where he has what he called the metropolitan countries, like those in Europe, and then the small countries like us out there, maybe before colonization or during colonization. And in it, Johan Galton says that it's not like the French people really come and then they spend their time going into the nooks and corners of our country trying to subjugate us. They come, they use some of us to subjugate us. And that's how it works. And it's still working. Then, the other thing that we must not miss, when you ask how Ahidjo came about doing the things that he was doing, kind of systematically. Yes, it was not haphazard, it was systematic. Honestly, when Ahidjo signed for what he understood as the independence for French Cameroons, he did that on the condition of the French decolonization agreement. And in that French decolonization agreement, there are things that the independent African French country needs to defer to France. So he was not going to be ruling a country where that agreement applies on the other side and not on our side. So from day one, he knew that he had to bring us into the system so that the French do it uniformly. So he started off by bringing in his gendarmes to take over law enforcement, if that was law enforcement. And then he moved to the unitary state, which if he had remained there and not Biya, he would have eventually done what Biya did when he succeeded him, as the logical way of bringing us into their system and making us a uniform territory for the French to exploit. So there are documents that were there, and they were supposed to pursue it. So if you had to be a good, you had to get favor with the French, then you had to keep reminding yourself of the decolonization agreement. So Ahidjo was, as a good student to the French, had to do everything to meet up, to tell the French that I'm doing my best to bring everybody under your control in Cameroon. And so he was going from bringing in the gendarmes, doing the unitary state, with the intention to come in with returning to their own identity and tagging us onto it as an appendix.
Yeah. Okay, Prof.
I have an addition. I have an addition.
Let me ask the question.
While Ahidjo was doing the thing. I got the question, but let me just make the addition, please. If you don't mind it. Look, in the days of Ahidjo, it was a one-party system. Ahidjo was all and all. He could just wake up from sleep and do anything. It is from 1990 that you had multi-party system, that there was some opposition and things, you know, there was people who were daring to question certain things. So that is one reason, that is an explanation for why Ahidjo was doing what he was doing. Because it was a one-party system. He was all and all, a dictator. You're there, you're finished. Nobody could stand on a post. All right? Except Gojidinka, who did in 1985 and stood for Ambazonia. So that is one good explanation for why that happened, the way it happened. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask about the various AAC1, AAC2. What happened? Because after 1984, when Ahidjo, when Biya abolished the unitary system of 2 stars and left just 1 star in the in the flag, I want to find out. That's when I know Von Gogijinka started his mission for independence. But I want to find out from you, what happened to this AAC1, AAC2, and what resolutions were there that could not be implemented till today?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have been talking about flags here. Let me just reveal something here to all those listening. La Republique had the independence 1st January 1960, and the flag that they handed to the UN is the flag that is still flying there today. Somebody can go and cross-check.
No, you're right.
It's still the flag flying there today. So if that is the flag you had at your independence and it's still flying there, go back to your country.
Yes. Exactly.
Simple. Simple. I mean, that's what we're hinging on. Some of us in diplomatic circles, we're pointing this out. Go to New York, you'll see the flag there. It is the flag they had at their independence. So they are illegal in our territory. They're annexing our territory. They recolonized our territory. They should leave to beyond their boundary at their independence in January 1, 1960. I mean, it's not living yesterday. I mean, now. Because we are dilly-dallying over the lives of 8 million people over our rights. We are not backing down. This has to come to conclusion. Okay, you talked about AAC1 and AAC2. All those are coming together of, I don't like to use Anglophones, say Southern Cameroonians, they use that appellation. were coming together to propose, and the end result of it was a proposal for a federation. We are gone past that stage of federation of any type. So to me, AAC 1, AAC 2 now is of no relevance, because we've gone past that level of federation. Okay, and the dialogue they did recommend, La République did not obey it. When this thing started, the teachers and the lawyers, they asked for federation and discussion. La République refused. We have gone past that limit because we have refused it. We want the restoration of the lost statehood, independence, and sovereignty of Southern Cameroons, which is our right. And that's what the UN voted for. If we have to decide on any joining, let's meet at Swiss table or negotiation table and talk there. Because that joining part has not been actualized. But the independence part has been actualized because they voted, the UN voted.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm bringing us to being contemporary, not going back to talk about things which La République themselves have discounted. I am hearing something about special status. Listen, guys, how come two territories that were on special status with the UN equal status, category B? La République was UN Trust Territory, category B. Southern Cameroon was UN Trust Territory, category B. We had equal status within the UN. And then the UN progressed to this plebiscite and to this resolution 1608, etc. How can you, La République, now be trying to determine what status we should have under you? Is that a slap to people's faces?
Exactly.
Okay,
that's.
Let me
yes,
add something. Let me add something to what Prof just said there. And the meaning for that be really tough for dinner say may not get disturbed from achieving our independence, whether economically or socially. B means you must be directed towards independence, and nothing else is supposed to prevent you from attaining independence. But then did that happen? It never happened. So it is the same illegality going on and on and on and on and on and until we are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just throw something there, because we are here to show our young people how we came to where we are today. You talk about the AAC 1 and 2. I will just put it in summary form. AAC 1 in Boya came about because when that tripartite between revive Cameroon constitution, they will create a commission where and wanna be head that commission. From where outside they knew that we were supposed to have our own people in that commission. There were the famous Dr. Muzu, Professor Anyangwe, a certain lawyer then Itoe, and lawyer Ekonta. They were the one that was sent into that commission from our own side to make a proposal. What that tripartite, when our own group people presented a federal constitution to that body, and they tempted strongly Biafra. You cannot impose a Nigerian constitution on us. When they refuse to listen to even open or listen to them, now for the way the Commonwealth call all Anglophone talk say, okay, when I be sent away for day, people that don't deny the police, someone will do it. That's why AAC1 was calling Boya. And when they got to that AAC1 after the resolutions, and then later were adapted for they need a reply. So okay, Anglophones are completely being marginalized. They talk, nobody will listen. They do, nobody will listen. They give a letter and demanding a reply to the letter in 6 months. And that 6 months came and passed, nothing came on. And they said if he did not reply, they will be meeting with AAC 2. And that was would declare their ability to go to a federation. So when they got to AAC, they came and passed, and La République did not even acknowledging that they said something. They never did it. So that's how AAC came about as I was great in Boya. So okay, if they don't reply, we'll meet again in Bamenda. AAC met in Bamenda with the normal brutality, but the resolution was still passed and sent to him. That no way we are determined to achieve what we are. If you like it, we are going back to 1961, the pre-60-61 arrangement, federation, and nothing more than that, or less than that. That's how, and that's from there, they formed SNC. From that grouping, SNC was then formed. That Mr. Ayin will know far more than I do, because from the word go, he was one of the ministers was always in the forefront of AAC1. I mean, SNC. That's how we came, but that's our struggle. I've been moving from that is the one you asked until where we finally at this stage we are standing strong and say that you know if Ben we are back again. Not when I play again, you know if Ben we are back. And that's exactly where we are today. And for any of our youth or any person, for all of this time we struggle like that until we finally say, no turning back. You talk, say no, we still remain. You have a story to tell us when we finally get independence. It's not going to end here. But be assured, the rate at which we are going and the determination within the Amazonian people, say what is happening in Bamenda, that we don't waste our time. We are already independent. It's just a matter of time to call that name independent for us to celebrate in Boya. Thank you.
Okay. Paman John, I just want to ask a little bit, because just take us a little bit. Why were the teachers angry? Because the main aspect that really started this, in 2016 was this matter of teachers getting angry and lawyers getting angry. But for the side of the school system, can you tell us how different was it back then and compared to now that La Republic tried to use up the system, which was the Anglo-Saxon system of education? I want you to tell us a little bit back then and now, what was the difference? Why were the teachers getting angry?
Well, there's been a history to it. Even in the days of Fallon, when he was a professor at the University of Yaoundé. As a matter of fact, if I can go a little bit back, just to show you how the man Bia is a dishonest individual. Because when he was in the same cabinet with Bernard Fonlon, if you go and you look at the ministerial minutes, the issue of bilingualism in Cameroon always came up. And Professor Bernard Fonlon was a proponent of bilingualism. And strangely, on the other side, with all the ministers that they had in the cabinet, the argument was always in between Bernard Fonlon and Paul Biya. Go and look at the minutes, the ministerial minutes. It's there, very clearly written there. I think it's just that our scholars have been a little bit lazy or whatever, not enthusiastic about this thing. If they go and read, they will find it. Biya's argument always was bilingualism is an expensive undertaking. That was always his argument. And then the other parties will let him counterbalance anything that Fonlon was advancing in terms of the usefulness of bilingualism. And then we come to when Fonlon is no longer in the cabinet, but he's a professor at the university. There were attempts to unify the education system, kind of arbitrarily, with a stroke of the pen, just say that there's only one system now. There was agitation in the university by the students then, because at that time the students themselves were not sleeping. So when the students agitated, they pulled back. And then they tried to come later on when the English had folded out of there, because our GCE, for example, continued to be administered through the University of London. Then when the University of London finally folded out and handed things to be done locally, then they came around again trying to abolish things on our side. And at that time, it resulted into the GCE crisis, if people remember that, which GCE crisis ended up with the GCE board. The Francophones were not asking for a backboard, but when they gave us a GCE board, they gave them a backboard. That was just to buy time. But then over time, they came in with more sinister way of trying to do what Bia called the attempt to assimilate us. They were sending Francophone teachers west of the Mungo indiscriminately. They were not just coming to teach French, they were coming to teach anything they can claim they can teach, whether they know it or they don't know it. And with time, our educators were becoming kind of irritated by that, because they didn't know what education their children will end up with, having teachers to teach a subject they don't know in a language the children don't understand.
Thank you.
So that was one reason why the teachers, on their part, didn't like the moves at trying to undercut our educational system through these sneaky ways, where we were having some of the GCE as poor translation from French, where they were calling a spark plug a candle, you know, because kind of a literary translation of what they call as the bougie or something, which is the name for a spark plug in French, right? So our boys were being asked to write, if they were doing maybe mechanics or something in the back, then they were asked them to describe the functions of a candle in the engine of a car. Yeah, and of course they had to deal with that. And people saw prevalence of that crap, and they got tired of it. And then they were like, hey, you have to give us a well-defined system. We need to go back and have a well-defined system. We know that this is our system. We do it the way it's best for us, and you do your own the way it's best for you. Then on the lawyer side, the lawyers were beginning to deal with magistrates that were coming from the other side, who were versed in the Napoleonic approach to law, as opposed to the common law approach to law. And then, of course, they had to meet judges that spoke only French, and some of them were not eloquent in French to be able to defend their clients. That was one problem. And then legal matters were being mediated in a way that favored them. For example, I think they gave too much attention to the work of the Bartomeu, whatever they call in French.
Okay, all right.
And of course, everybody that had to do it on our side was coming from the other side to do it on our side. So all of these manipulations in our system, in our legal system, irritated the lawyers, and they thought that something should be done about it. About the same time that the teachers thought something should be done about the machinations that were being done in our education. So this coincidence brought them together. And then they went to agitate to say, you need to fix this.
Thank you.
And then
Professor Ayim,
they got the rebuff, and then we ended up with what we are dealing with now.
All right. Thank you, Professor Ayim. I want you to also talk on those two dimensions, the educational side and the judicial side. What went wrong that the teachers started, rioting and protesting, and what were the difference between the past and present and that of our own system, the civil system, and versus the common law system, or the Anglo-Saxon system and the Francophonie system?
Listen, I'll start with the educational system. Our Anglo-Saxon system was being compromised. The standard of teaching in schools was compromised. French-speaking people came over to teach English-speaking children in French in subjects like physics. How would you teach physics in French to students who have never known any French word? So our educational system was seriously compromised and our teachers rose up. So as a consequence of this, the teachers, it was a peaceful demand, peaceful request for people who can listen to their people and to solve problems. They would have listened. And this thing would have ended at that level, listening and then looking for solutions.
Yeah.
Okay, but they didn't. On the legal aspect, it's exactly what Pastor said. And phone lawyers or magistrates were posted to our side, and they wanted our lawyers to speak in French or defend in French, an insult to our own common law system. They were imposing their own legal system on us. So the lawyers rose up to ask for fairness. So then the teachers rose up to ask for fairness, and they met with reprisals and violence, etc., which is typical of La Republique. Because they brought in violence, they did not understand what dialogue is. They didn't know what it means to listen to their people and solve problems. The whole thing escalated. They started beating lawyers during the demonstrations, etc., and then it escalated to a civil unrest. There came the Coffin Revolution. There came the people. There came where we are now, because the people now rose up. Enough is enough. To the point where even the federation that the people wanted, the teachers wanted, and the lawyers wanted at that time, nobody's interested in it now. Because even Cardinal Toomey conducted his survey, and it was found out that 69% of Amazonians want total independence. This is not the first survey. In 1995, SCAM, movement, the then CAAM, had conducted a referendum signature exercise where 95% of Southern Cameroonians voted or signed up for total independence. Yeah. People have stood up for total independence. Let the UN listen to us. Let the world listen to us. You can't force a relationship to people who are not compatible. So as a result of this compromise of educational system, the interim government in which I serve, and one of the government that has done a lot, is the government that has done a lot and put everything in place. We have a curriculum, a world-renowned curriculum ready to go for our schools. What we have asked the UNESCO and the UN to do is to create that climate, provide us that climate where our children can learn under the new curriculum that we have put in place. We're not going to going to school for going's sake. They will go back to school in a better system than what was. A world competitive, renowned system, curriculum that we have put together, because you don't only criticize about a problem, you give a solution. We have the solution. UNESCO create that environment. Let our children go back to school and learn this good curriculum. We don't want our children to stay away from school, but we want the environment to be safe for them to go and learn effectively and compete in this way. So that's what I can chime in about that. We are ready. We have it. We are ready. We have it.
Yeah, Mr. Fritz, before you go there, please, before you go there, I want to ask something for the legal thing and the education thing, my co-panelists, the other talk. You see, it boils down to the same assimilation way for be talk. So they don't try to assimilate we in the trunk for accomplishment. They want to erase our identity in favor of the French identity. The reason why would they stand to this, say, well, that will not ever happen. I think I cannot remember what it's 1976 or something. As one of my big brothers told me, I was in the West at one time before I came over here. I mean, Western Province. There was a time at Damon Anjoya too, when he was Minister of Education at the town Ahijo. He took the GCE board at the back. He took the GCE board, translated where the right at the back. In year Prima tell it says jail back that Damon Anjoya. It means that the toughest back they don't ever write for that way. If you be past that back, they'll be flung very badly. They had to cancel the exam. But those who passed, they were allowed to go with it. But since they feel almost 80%, they had to rewrite the exam in their own way. And even to the point they know that this system they wanted to let me equate the system and see how, because they've always said that the Anglophone system or the English system is better than the French system. He wanted to show to the Francophone that it is not true. Their people's system is better than ours. And when he did that and everybody flunked, they learned a lesson. Well, I think today, some people tell me some for where also 80% people go learn for English side, I mean for French side. But French side for the one not themselves certified for send their people, they can't learn for our side. It should automatically tell you, say they know that our system is better. Even today, for example, the my country, for the America, where sometimes that is still forced to stand up for you because you will be hardly sent for women. Say, if you give me go learn from France, or saying that, that teacher where they go for that simple bilingualism for government for 6 months, come back. We know they say we're picking up for France, but France might make sure say, maybe you can study in the English system. And then you ask yourself, if they recognize the fact that the English system is better, why are they trying to erase it? Because Fremont will not want that. When they are trying to erase our identity in favor of the Frenchman, they will have to do that. And on the side of the lawyers, what Brady Cameroon did in the court, they will try to harmonize the legal system in Cameroon in favor of all laws in favor of French legal system. That's when the lawyers say, no, that can never happen. You cannot erase our own law system. You send judges here who don't even have an idea of the common law. You pass judgment on somebody who do not even understand what he was saying. The judge will not understand your explanation. And how is it then going to give a judgment? And now you want to erase the common law system in favor of the French system of law. The judge say, no, but it cannot go right. That's why the lawyers, the infiltration of our courts with magistrates that could not even read the law, have no idea of the common law, and they should preside over a court, passing judgment until you don't know. You need to hear the explanation before you pass judgment, but you don't really understand the explanation and you are passing judgment. So this guy said, no, harmonizing the law system in Cameroon in favor of the French system, enough he go, better might die. And that's why the English, the legal system and the education system for the both sides are trying to erase to make sure that may go only for French side, which is continuously the system that we put in place to assimilate or to erase our identity, so that in our children, because they will never know that there was anything like what we are talking about here. They would have forgotten about it. Systematically, it would have gotten to that level. But at one time, people must say enough is enough. That's why we are here today. Thank you so much.
I don't hear you.
I don't too.
Me too.
Last word, because we are running up.
Okay.
If not, Professor Ayum, your last advice to the Amazonian people.
My last advice to the Amazonian people is, my people, stay firm, stay resolute. The restoration forces, you are doing a good job. We love you. Stay firm, stay committed, stay focused. Amazonian people, listen to the interim government. We are going to be giving some directives. We thank you very much for obeying the last week lockdown. A lot more is going to happen through teamwork, and we will finish this struggle by working as one. Diaspora and home connecting. So have the confidence, have the trust, in the interim government and Dr. Samuel Sako. A lot has been said out there that are lies, all these enablers, and the list of things I've said is lies. Don't listen to any other source other than the ABC or Sako or some of us when we come out, because some people have specialized in just lies talking. This struggle is not on the social media network. Some people have taken it to be where they have to be spewing lies and creating lies every day, listing and misleading Amazonians on ground zero. Please, my people on ground zero, listen to the interim government. We have you at heart. We'll take no penny, and we will not betray your trust. Stay firm with us. And to the international community, we promise you, the international community, that we will not be like South Sudan. There is a fear that, that the South Sudan is going to be, or Amazonia is going to be like South Sudan. No, we have a high literacy rate. Our people are highly literate. We have in many areas. So my promise to you, the international community, is that there will be no South Sudan in Amazonia. And the last piece of promise to the international community, the Amazonia Coalition Team, Team Amazonia, is the unitary platform that any pro-independence person or group can freely join. They have to indicate so. So to say that Amazonians are not united towards the negotiation is not true. We have a unitary platform, the ACT, Team Amazonia. So we are ready. We are ready to talk and talk peace. We are peaceful people. If we ask, we are only defending ourselves, and we have the right to defend ourselves according to the UN Article 51. So we are peaceful people. We want peace in the Gulf of Guinea, but we will defend ourselves when we have to. So please, the world, let the pressure be on La République. Let's meet in Switzerland and talk like civilized people and end this thing. Our people don't have to be dying carelessly and the way they are. Genocide should not be a rule of the day. We can handle this. Let's meet on a talking table or on a table and talk and mediation table like the Swiss mediation. Thank you very much. That's my promise. That's my last word.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the televiewers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. I want to remind our people, fellow Amazonians, we have a series of activities for this coming week, which is very important for our restoration struggle. We have the 22nd of this 22nd, we have the UN General Assembly is coming. It's going to hold its annual meeting and be talking about Amazonia and decolonization. We also have tomorrow the women organizing a very important program. They call it the Women for Peace. So don't forget, tomorrow on ABC will be live. We'll have women from across Africa who are coming tomorrow to have their show. So please don't miss tomorrow on ABC. Very special program from the women. Then we have on the 24th, all roads leads to New York. Don't forget, there will be a huge rally in New York City at the headquarters of the United Nations. So don't forget, all Amazonians across the US are called to attend this protest. It will be very, very much attended. Everybody will be there. The ABC TV will be there live. Secretary Chris will be there. So don't forget. Then on the 1st of October, our usual Independence Day. So, ladies and gentlemen, our fellow Amazonians, I wish you all the best. And let's stay focused and let's get our independence. Thank you very much.
Kumbala